my name is Amanda and today I'm back with one more episode of Experiencing Conestoga. So today I'm here to tell you a little bit about myself and I'm gonna give you tips and tricks of how to learn English. So when I was 4 years old, my parents put me in English classes and since then I've never stopped, ever. So I had contact with the language very early in my life. However, those classes weren't the best. I wasn't learning much. So 4 years before coming to Canada, I decided to take private lessons, which were way better for me, and that's when I saw the most improvement in my English back home. Since I was really young, my parents always told me that after high school I would go to a country where they speak English and then I would learn the whole language there. And that was always the plan. So when I finished high school in Brazil, I decided to come to Canada and go to high school again, an extra semester of high school, but all in English. I was really here to be in an environment that was full of English everywhere, and I had to learn the language in order to actually communicate with people around me, right? So that's mainly how I learned English. At that time, I was living in homestay, which is living with a Canadian family, and that was just really good for me because I was all the time, everywhere I went to was all English. After high school in Guelph, I decided that I still wanted to study English for a little bit more. So I went to an English program for international students at the University of Guelph for 3 months and a half. And Conestoga actually has a really similar program here, which is called the Pathway. So I definitely recommend you to look into that. That was when I actually started feeling comfortable and feeling confident about my English. While I was in this program at the University of Guelph, I decided that I wanted to go to college in Canada, and that's when I started applying to Conestoga College and other colleges around Ontario. I got accepted to a couple of them, but I decided to come to Conestoga College for a number of reasons. And right before I actually started Conestoga College, I also went to Toronto, lived there for 3 months, and took a certificate program in a private college for digital marketing. So that's basically my background. And then in September 2018, I started my journalism program at Conestoga College. So now I'd like to give you a little bit of tips and tricks of how to learn English and how I actually learned, and I think that's gonna help you a lot. So the first thing to keep in mind is that it's good for you if you come to Canada prepared. So if you don't know English at all or if it's very basic, I recommend you taking at least online courses so you can get here and you're not really gonna have the hardest time ever. Because if you really don't know the language, it can get really hard to live with people that only speak English and in an environment that only speaks English if you don't know English, right? So I definitely recommend you to come to Canada prepared. So the second tip I have for you is to speak English as much as you can once you get here. In my opinion, the more you speak English, the faster you will be fluent in English. So just really try to do your best. I know it's hard, but do your best to be in an English environment all the time or as much time as possible. The last tip I have for you is the most important one in my opinion. What happened to me, and it happens to a lot of international students, was that I knew English and I knew enough to actually communicate with everyone. However, I was really shy and I had no confidence at all. I thought that my English was so bad that people would make fun of me, and I was so ashamed that I have an accent. And realistically, when that happens, you actually already know the language. You're just so scared to speak with people that you just don't talk at all. So I spent I would say a lot of months just really shy, wouldn't talk to anyone. I would just talk the necessary just because I was shy. I was ashamed and I didn't want to make a mistake. However, realistically, since I spent so many months stuck in that position, I feel like I took way longer to learn English than I should have taken. Your accent is your battle, you know what I mean? Just because you have an accent, it doesn't mean that your English is ugly, or it doesn't mean that people are not going to understand you. They might have a hard time at first, depending on how strong the accent is. However, it is totally possible to have a full-on conversation with someone, even though you have an accent. That's how I live here, and I have no problems and no shame at all anymore. I hope I helped you guys with this video. Please leave any comments down below, any questions that you guys might have. Please give it a thumbs up if you like this video. Bye bye, thank you for watching me.